You could feel the anger tonight at a Board of Trustees meeting in Thornton Township. The board and citizens looking for accountability to their finances, while the township supervisor...
Hey everyone, it seems like the federal authorities decided that if Tiffany wouldn't cooperate, they'd just get everyone around her to testify against her. And guess what? It's working. Tiffany Henyard's partner has reportedly been taken into custody and is already cooperating fully. This investigation is proving that those close to Tiffany are just as involved in wrongdoing as she is. Nearly everyone around her is facing federal charges for fraud and theft. It's wild. It seems Tiffany's partner didn't need much convincing before he started revealing everything. Sometimes, people really look out for their own future, especially when their own freedom is at stake. It looks like Tiffany might be facing serious consequences, possibly even prison time. So, how does Tiffany's partner fit into all this, and why is he being targeted?
I'm a mother of 3 children. My children and my family are suffering because of this loss. And Dalton Police, the detectives...
Let's break it down. Tiffany Henyard managed to evade detection for so long because she surrounded herself with people as shady as she is, essentially creating a network of scapegoats. When Tiffany came under investigation for her questionable actions as mayor of Dalton, she reportedly tried to avoid the probe and lay low until things cooled down. But as we mentioned before, Tiffany had lined up fall guys to take the blame for her actions. She thought she was safe, but she was mistaken. One by one, the people she depended on to take the fall for her crimes are turning on her, leaving her with no escape route. Even her partner, Kamal Woods, didn't hesitate to cooperate once faced with the prospect of spending years behind bars. Kamal took one look at his potential future and decided to speak out. For those unfamiliar, Kamal Woods, Tiffany's boyfriend, is deeply involved in her professional dealings. Despite being listed as her boyfriend in her divorce papers, he has a significant role in her business operations. Tiffany appointed Kamal as the director of her cancer foundation, which she allegedly finances with taxpayer funds. The CARES Foundation, created by Tiffany to support breast cancer patients, was supposedly a public relations move.
Have been sitting around twiddling their fingers on this case.
You out of order, Clerky. Like, stop. Y'all out of order. Everybody want to run stuff. Y'all don't run this house over here. Stop.
On its very first day, the foundation received a generous $10,000 donation from Dalton's residents. However, this donation was not authorized, and Tiffany reportedly used these funds for her personal projects. She even used public money to fund a trip outside Dalton to promote her foundation. From the trucks and bicycles to the DJ, photographer, drones, meals, and hotel rooms for the event, everything was allegedly paid for with public funds. Even after the foundation's launch, Tiffany continued to use taxpayer money to support it. All staff members, including Kamal, are reportedly paid with public funds. But that's not all. Tiffany didn't just make Kamal the director of her foundation and pay him with misappropriated funds, she also secured him a lucrative position at Thornton Township, paying him over $100,000, money that most Dalton residents haven't seen in years. This arrangement was going well until the federal authorities got involved.
I'm a wife, I'm a mother of 3 children. My children and my family are suffering because of this loss. And Dalton Police, the detectives, have been sitting around twiddling their fingers on this case. This is hurtful.
Tiffany Henyard has been hit with a subpoena demanding every record related to her businesses, and Kamal is mentioned in it. Reports indicate that Tiffany received 2 subpoenas, one targeting her private ventures, such as her restaurant and property management business, which are rumored to be highly questionable. Allegedly, Tiffany has a habit of cutting corners at the expense of her clients. Her dubious business practices came to light in 2019 when a tenant lost her home due to severe mold and leaks in one of her properties. The FBI is scrutinizing these businesses closely and has also requested all records related to her political fund and charity foundation. But the investigation doesn't stop there as it delves deeper. More people are coming forward to expose Tiffany. This backlash was almost inevitable given the issues within her administration from the start. Just 6 months into her role as supervisor of Thornton Township, Tiffany faced criticism from her so-called dream team, which included candidates she had endorsed for trustee and village clerk positions. Although Keen Belcher and Jason House were elected as trustees and Allison Key became village clerk, this team quickly turned into a nightmare for Tiffany.
I've been in contact. I've been asking questions. I've been in contact with the state's attorney's office. I'm pushing this case. I've had the Crime Stoppers come out to do additional work canvassing the neighborhood, to assist the police, and nothing has been done.
They began to call out her mismanagement of funds and lack of transparency. By 2022, the trustees, frustrated by Tiffany's lack of accountability, teamed up with the village board to sue her for significant conflicts of interest. Tiffany, however, countered by accusing them of undermining her efforts to improve Dalton. She even went so far as to lock them out of their offices, but this only fueled their resolve to remove her. They proceeded to hold meetings without her, determined to push her out. You might wonder if the trustees were overstepping, considering Tiffany was still performing her duties. But according to some residents, there were numerous pressing issues in Dalton, such as road repairs, housing, and police force improvements that Tiffany ignored in favor of spending on billboards, luxury trips, high-end hotels like the Four Seasons, DJJ's photographers, and a private security detail. The list of extravagant expenses seems endless. Before Tiffany became mayor, Dalton was known for its community spirit and events that benefited everyone. Now, however, Tiffany seems to focus solely on promoting herself. For example, she recently denied a permit for a local community event to avoid any potential conflict with her own event held nearby. She even went so far as to block the park entrance with cement blocks to prevent access. It's astonishing that Tiffany would cancel a community event just to highlight herself, but this is just one example of her behavior. Given the circumstances, it's not surprising that the trustees and her close associates began turning against her. Recently, one trustee, Carmen Carlisle, blew the whistle on Tiffany, releasing a statement that detailed the extent of her misconduct. Over the past 2 years, Henyard has exploited her position to manipulate employees, vendors, and residents, all while projecting a facade of success. Funded by the diligent taxpayers of Thornton Township and Dalton, Henyard has shown a blatant disregard for accountability, demonstrating no remorse for her actions against both employees and taxpayers. Despite this, Tiffany is not backing down. She maintains that she acted in the best interests of Dalton's residents and argues that any blame should fall on her right-hand man, Keith Freeman, who is also facing fraud charges in a separate FBI investigation. As unbelievable as it may seem, there are still supporters in Dalton who defend Tiffany. They believe she has made politics more engaging and enjoyable and argue that she isn't as problematic as critics suggest. Her social media presence continues to attract significant attention, almost like she's become a local celebrity. However, this hasn't stopped the criticism. One person remarked that if Tiffany doesn't end up in prison for her actions, which have been openly criticized by many, then there is no justice left in Illinois. Another individual expressed frustration, stating that the ongoing investigation is absurd and an insult to the community, suggesting that Tiffany should already be in prison. Over the past 2 years, Henyard has exploited her position to manipulate employees, vendors, and residents, all while projecting a facade of success. Funded by the diligent taxpayers of Thornton Township and Dalton, Henyard has shown a blatant disregard for accountability, demonstrating no remorse for her actions against both employees and taxpayers. Despite this, Tiffany is not backing down. She maintains that she acted in the best interests of Dalton's residents and argues that any blame should fall on her right-hand man, Keith Freeman, who is also facing fraud charges in a separate FBI investigation. As unbelievable as it may seem, there are still supporters in Dalton who defend Tiffany. They believe she has made politics more engaging and enjoyable and argue that she isn't as problematic as critics suggest. Her social media presence continues to attract significant attention, almost like she's become a local celebrity. However, this hasn't stopped the criticism. One person remarked that if Tiffany doesn't end up in prison for her actions, which have been openly criticized by many, then there is no justice left in Illinois. Another individual expressed frustration, stating that the ongoing investigation is absurd and an insult to the community, suggesting that Tiffany should already be in prison. So now, I'd love to hear your opinions. Are you on Team Tiffany, or do you agree with those who think she deserves a long-term timeout? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to click here to check out another juicy video.